Well, good morning. It's Brent Adams and Steve Markwardt with Fort Worth Musical Moments here. We are back in the saddle after a couple of weeks. Uh, Things are a little bit different here. Our StreamYard is having trouble connecting to a couple of the Facebook. I think we've got them here as best we can. I hope you're joining us. Let's see here. We're going to push this one here. There we go.
Don't push that button. That'll detonate the bomb.
Well, this whole thing could detonate here in a minute, but we're up and going here. We're going to eschew the fancy intro today and everything, and just jump on here and say, hey, we appreciate everybody's patience over the past couple of weeks here. We've had a lot going on, but wanted to get together for a little bit just to reconvene, to regroup, and let everybody know what's going on here. Since the last time we saw you a couple of weeks ago, we had Tommy Snyder on here from the American Country Network to talk about that launch, which, Steve, is today.
It is today, but before we get into all that, Brent, there's something much, much, much more important. And, you've got a lot of people out there praying for Madison, little Madison, and for you and your entire family. And so I was hoping, you don't have to get into detail, and I respect your privacy, but and your family's privacy. But a lot of people, I'm sure, would want to know kind of how she's doing and how you guys are holding up and what they can do to help. Besides, I know there's a lot of prayers out there going around, and hopefully, they're making a difference. But you want to give us just a quick little update to your comfort level there?
Yeah, we can do that. So we had the surgery 2 weeks ago yesterday. It was very involved surgery, which among things involved basically reconstructing her bladder, which was kind of small and deformed at birth, and a very delicate procedure where they go in and use intestinal tissue to basically augment the bladder. And it's we're here at Cincinnati Children's Hospital, which has the foremost team in the world for doing these kind of surgeries. So very blessed to have the care that we have. Unfortunately, it's kind of an inexact science here, and every child accepts it differently, and we've had some complications with it. We're kind of dealing with those complications as we go here. This will be, well, she actually had a follow-up surgery to exploratory deal to kind of go in and look at some stuff that wasn't healing right after a few days. So she's had 2 surgeries while she's been in here, and those were numbers 31 and 32. And of all those surgeries, this has been probably one of the toughest recovery periods we've had in here. So, just trying to make it day by day here. It's hard to watch your child hurt and struggle and not be able to, just to be able to rebound here, because she was pretty normal here before the surgery here. If you saw her, she'd be out doing cartwheels and roughhousing with her sisters and everything. And this has really slowed her down. She's been in a lot of pain. It's hard to get out of bed or do any kind of walking, especially when she's got a lot of drain tubes, coming out of her body, and just not feeling good. So I don't know. We're trying to get her over that hump. So the biggest thing everybody could do at this point is just pray. Just say a prayer for her. Those prayers are felt and very much appreciated here. And we're just trying to take it one day at a time to, try to encourage her. And as the doctors explained to us, part of the healing process is being able to eat, get the protein she needs for her body to heal and build. But when you don't feel like eating because your stomach always hurts, it makes it difficult. So they're actually inserting a feeding tube today to try to help her with that and try to hopefully boost the recovery a little bit, because it's just we gotta get her over the hump here.
Well, I'm so sorry to hear that she's been through. Y'all have all been through a rough time. Of course, it's heartbreaking to see a little cute, little vibrant little girl have to suffer through all of that. And I know in a heartbeat, you and I've talked about this. You would change places with her in a heartbeat, as would your wife, and heck, I would. I hate to see these kids go through that. It seems so colossally unfair, but there is a plan. God's got a plan, and I bet you she'll be doing cartwheels before long. Because kids, one thing about kids, are very resilient, and they bounce back pretty quickly. But I can only imagine what you've been through. I can't imagine really, but my heart goes out to you. And I know a lot of people out there feel the same way. Tell us what hospital she's in again.
Yeah, so she's at Cincinnati Children's Hospital, which is in the downtown Cincinnati area. Really, the U.S. News and World Report does a ranking every year, and this past year ranked them the top children's hospital in the country. So it's a great hospital, great doctors. As a matter of fact, I've got a former coworker who has a friend in here, or a former coworker whose kid is in here right now, and they're evaluating him for a heart transplant. And then I know a lot of you all know Richard Lynch, who's a great country music singer. Been around a long time. His grandson just wrapped up chemo treatments here yesterday. So we're in good company here. With a lot of people from this region bring their kids here because it's the best around. And I don't know how anybody else is, but when something's wrong with your kid, you go to the ends of the earth to try to find the best possible care for them and as many solutions as possible. And as a matter of fact, I mean, you see people from all over the world here, literally getting care, and they do whatever they can to get here, to get to the right specialists, and make those sacrifices to make things happen.
Well, I know she's in good hands there. Are you accepting any kind of flowers or gifts into the room there?
We can. We got to be careful how much we get in here because we got to haul it all home at some point here. So we're thinking about things logistically too.
So maybe we'll wait until she gets home, and then if people want to send their tributes to her or whatever, then maybe we can talk about that then. But I know, gosh, I hope you can get over this and get her home and get her on the path to being a normal kid, because she is just such a cute kid. I mean, you got a beautiful family, Brent.
I sure appreciate it. Yeah, we are blessed, and that's been the biggest challenge, is making sure we take care of the other two youngins too, to keep them occupied, and they're trying to process all this in their own ways as well. They have a spring break right now. They're on a 2-week spring break, so they got to go back on Monday. So we'll be taking them back and getting them back in school, getting back to a routine and some semblance of normalcy. Not really sure how much longer the stay is going to be here. Really kind of open-ended, given some of the setbacks we've had. But we're just taking it one day at a time and trying to make it our normal for the time being.
Well, it's anything but normal, but it is what it is. And just know you got a lot of people out there. Billy Bowles just chimed in and said the prayers will continue. And that, I'm sure that's the sentiment of a lot of people out there. So
they appreciate it.
Just know that there is a lot of and prayers are very powerful things, as you know. So
they're needed and much appreciated and much felt. So we appreciate everybody who's been commenting on posts and praying.
Well, we're all one big dysfunctional family. You're like my brother, and Billy Bowles is like the step brother that we have to lock out sometime. No, I'm just kidding.
Speaking of dysfunctional family members.
Oh, and this guy, I don't know if we claim him or not. He's got somebody, some suspect-looking guy behind him too. I don't know who that guy is, but
this is a homeless songwriter that just walked in, man.
Hey, he's got a lot of great material if he's living on the streets, man.
That's right.
So
I'm here actually with Alan Rudd, who just got in from Texas, Dallas-Fort Worth area, right?
Actually, Southern Oklahoma.
Southern Oklahoma, man. I got that wrong, didn't I?
Well, that's part of the Metroplex these days.
It's Texas,
yeah.
That's even better, really.
Last county.
Well, welcome, Alan. Good to see you. We've not met yet, but Kurt's told me a little bit about you. So you're in the studio to do some recording, is that right?
Yes, we got to finish up some vocals today.
This guy is probably one of the finest songwriters I've worked with, Steve. He's an excellent, amazing singer. I can't wait for you guys to hear what Alan is doing in here. He just kind of popped in one day and said, "Hey, I want to record." And I just now sitting here talking to him about his story. It's a very interesting story. His background is something I think we ought to talk about.
Okay. Well, if he wants to to disclose his background. There's certain parts of my background I will not disclose, but Alan, tell us about yourself.
Well, of course, I grew up there in southern Oklahoma. I owned the ranch that my family became a part of as sharecroppers many, many years ago, about third generation now. But I've always loved music, and I had a cousin that kind of worked me into learning how to play guitar. And when I was in college, I worked with a couple of groups in Murray State College in Tishomingo, Oklahoma, the Entertainers, and the Oklahomans at East Central University for about a year. And then I just started playing nightclubs around there with Jerry Duncan and Ernie Dunlap, some guys like that around that area.
I'll be right back. Go ahead.
And then moved on into a teaching career and coaching in Conowall. And then I was still doing shows like the Oklahoma Opry and Johnny High show in Texas. And then I kind of started, I'd always been kind of dabbling in songwriting a little bit. One day I wrote a song for my wife that I just thought, that's way over the top of most of the stuff I've usually written. And so I got encouraged by my mom and my uncle to go to Nashville and do some demos. And I tracked 3 demos, and all 3 of those songs got picked up by Gatlin Brothers Music Resources. And Randy Hauser, who was the drummer for Chad at that time, is gone now, but Mike Smith were running the company, and they picked up all 3 songs. One of the songs got in the Dottie West story.
Oh, wow.
And soon after that, a tornado came through our place and pretty much just blew us off the map. And everybody's like, man, you just need to come to Nashville now. And I thought, well, we'll go for a year or 2 and see what happens. And 18 years later, we came back to Oklahoma after I really went back out there and got back into education is what I did.
So God literally blew you to Nashville.
That's crazy, because I was like, there's no way that I had moved this house onto my property about 5 years before that. And I thought, there's no way I can't rent this out. I can't sell it. It's our property. And next thing you know, it was gone.
Wow. What year was that?
That was 1995. 95. So we moved to Nashville. I actually quit my job in the middle of the school year and moved out to Nashville in December of 95.
Did you talk about your music stuff that you did? Hear the songs you wrote and stuff?
Yeah.
Interesting story.
So, I wrote the first song I ever wrote was a song for my wife too. She reminds me of it all the time because, I just learned how to play the guitar. We were up in our getaway place up in Ruidoso, New Mexico, and we had another couple that always travels with us. And so they went out to do some shopping. I was sitting around just plucking around the guitar, and I'm thinking, I got a song in me I think I need to write. And I was inspired. So I said, y'all go on, do the shopping, and I'm going to work on this song. So when they got back, I had the song pretty much finished. But my wife's thinking this is going to be so romantic, but the song was all about the fact that she and I are so different in our ways. And so the title of the song was something like "Your imperfections make you perfect for me." In other words, you're obsessive about every little crumb on the floor, while my place looks like the result of a war. And just you can't sit still while we should be relaxing, and I can sleep the whole day away. And so she goes, so the love song you choose to write me is about my character flaws. And I said, pretty much. I still hadn't heard the end of that. So every year I have to come up with a really nice, sappy love song for her. Or otherwise, who knows what might happen. Kurt knows Jill real well. So.
Yeah, I don't write songs about my wife anymore. I learned a long time ago, she doesn't believe it. She says, who's that about? It's not me. You don't say that to me.
Well, we need to write a song about Mia called the Hula Hoop Queen or something like that.
My wife was in the Olympics, or she trained for the Olympics in South Korea when she was a kid. So she can jump a rope at triple speed. I've never seen it. It sounds like a herd of bees coming whenever she starts jumping that thing. And she does these hula hoops with these big old knots in the middle of these big hula hoops. And it just tightens up your stomach. But yeah, she was quite an athlete in her younger days, and it's still fun to watch her jump that rope.
She's a heck of a cook too. I tell you, all session musicians don't come. You think they come so they want to work with Kurt, but that's not true. They come because they want to eat Mia's food.
I think he's right about that.
Yeah, it's like a veritable buffet when those guys all come, and the problem is we lose them, at least mentally, after lunch, because they're all in a coma,
Steve, I've been watching our, I don't know if you've talked about this any, but I've been watching our pilot that we shot for the TV show. Of course, we still got a lot of work to do to this thing. It's not anywhere near ready yet, but I think we got a great show here that's going to be coming out soon. And I'm just really looking forward to this thing coming out.
I'm excited about it. Yeah, we were going to get into all of that for sure. The first draft of the pilot it's a starting point. And from that, we had no clue what to expect. We kind of gave our producer Josh Hollis creative license to put this thing together, and so we saw the first draft a few days ago. And there's a lot of things that we all believe we can add to it and change to make it as appealing as possible and engaging as possible. Because the whole thing is to keep people coming back and watching it, series show after show. And but I think definitely the nucleus is there for a real successful, engaging show. And certainly we have no shortage of material to present through that show, with everything going on with Clarksville Creative Sound, both in Clarksville, Nashville, and here in Fort Worth. And so you never know. In fact, we got some stuff going on in Oklahoma, because our very dear Mackenzie McKetty is about to embark upon the Miss Oklahoma deal, and she's very, very well. I wouldn't be surprised if she didn't take home the trophy.
She's definitely talented enough, and she's definitely pretty enough, and I think she got a good chance to win Miss Oklahoma. We're really looking forward to that. I think they'll probably be down there filming some of that for our show later on.
Yeah.
She is a very, very gifted singer, entertainer. She's just magic on stage, and she just demands the audience and their attention, and she gets it. And I think she's going to do well in this thing. So,
I was with our Fort Worth, our Texas video guy, Paul Michael, yesterday, looking at some footage from our last concert, and I just love the footage that we've got on Mackenzie and Austin and the whole McKetty band. Those guys are troopers, and they've got a tight little group there, and what they do really works well. And Austin's, I'll tell you what, Austin's really coming along. I don't know, Kurt, if you've seen the latest episode. It just premiered of the Penny Gilly Show, where Mackenzie and Austin were both featured on there, and Austin really kind of stole the show. He just did that Guitars and Cadillacs, I think it was. Dwight Yoakam, and he just blew it out of the water. I mean, I was really, really, I was there when they were taping it, but it was hard to see and hear because I had people talking in my ear, and I was kind of stuck in the back because that place got packed. But seeing it on TV, he really presents well and looked good. So, the artist development that you're doing with him is really paying off.
Well, we spent a lot of time with him in the studio, and he has that look, and he's kind of crazy. Anybody who will get on a bull, you got to be kind of crazy, right?
I'm trying to keep him off the bull. I keep telling him, they opened for Gene Watson, and they're going to open here in a month or so, I think, for Diamond Rio, which is, a pretty good gig. I said, we do not want you up on stage in a cast.
Yeah, he's pretty good at it. I watched some footage of him the other day in a rodeo. I don't know where he was at, but he drew a pretty rank bull, and he stayed on him right to the end. And if Austin, I think Austin's got a really good shot at being a great vocalist too. He just when I first got him, he was, it's been a while, and he was still kind of coming into his own as an artist. And I think I'm going to have him back in here in May. So looking forward to having him and Mackenzie in here. We're going to write some stuff and record some new stuff on them. So, yep, just be looking for that.
Well, let's talk a little bit more about the show. And Brent was taking me into talking about the network, because today is really a monumental day. It's a soft launch day for American Country Network. And I was trying to get, excuse me, Tommy Snyder to call in at least by phone and just kind of explain to us what we can expect on a soft launch. And he's obviously, he didn't even respond. I'm sure he's knee deep in everything going on right now.
Oh, yeah.
But I know that he did text me and say that, let me see here. I'm gonna share this because this is some information that I think people will want to know.
I've got a lot of people asking me what channel.
Okay, so it says, I said, first of all, told him we had the trademark for Small Town Sound, so that's good. A little legal, maintenance work. And he said you can watch ACN today on Amazon Fire Stick and the web. So you go on ACN website and watch it. All the other apps will follow as approved. Getting with Josh today to go through other footage. They're still working on the show on their end. There is, let me see here. So eventually all of the channels, all of the ways that you'll be able to watch American Country Network will consist of Apple TV, Amazon Prime Video, Roku, Sling, LG Smart TV, and LG. Tommy made a deal with LG to where when you buy your LG TV, and I think they're working on a similar deal with Samsung, that app will be built in. I mean, it's not something you'll even have to download. It'll be right there. Yep. You'll be able to see it on YouTube, of course, on your iPhone, and not even, he didn't even mention that they made a deal with an OTA, which over-the-air company that owns probably the largest presence of antennas. I didn't know this. You guys may already know this. Brent, you probably do because you've been in broadcast a long time. There's millions and millions, tens and maybe hundreds of millions of people that still watch TV with a
really
conventional antenna.
Right. Well, it's actually increased
from Oklahoma.
Yeah, it's actually increased over the last few years because as people have cut the cord and gone away from cable and satellite, which had a lot of their locals, now they're using streaming services, but they still want their locals, so they're going down and buying just a little digital rabbit ears. That's the way we do it.
Well, it's amazing the resolution there. I discovered that at our at the birthplace of Western Swing Festival, and we had that little RV out back.
Right.
They had a TV and they had an antenna built in, and I turned the TV on, expecting just to get nothing but snow, and there was crystal clear pictures on these and tons of channels. I was blown away. I thought, you can get all this for free.
Right. And they play a lot of the good programming, the old sitcoms and old westerns and all the old, the good stuff. So
yeah,
it's in there. Hey, you got to poke around a little bit to find it.
I know. I was sitting there watching Andy Griffith and then the Rifleman. I mean, I could watch the Rifleman all day long. I don't know about y'all. I love me some Chuck Connors. Chuck Connors, and what was his son's name? Mark. So Tommy just sealed a deal with a provider that's got most of these antennas that equates to over 100 million households potentially that we could be in through this OTA agreement. So we're very aggressive. I say we because we're affiliated with American Country Network, and we're partners and investors and all of that in the network, and they're investing in us too by co-producing this show. So it's a great partnership, I mean, we're so excited about the possibilities there. And
well, this eventually, I'm sure it will. It'll probably be on cable networks too, I'm assuming, right?
Yes. And Tommy can speak better to that, but yeah, eventually there will be a channel that you'll find on your cable program guide and all of that. So they've got a real aggressive plan. When Tommy was at TCN, the Country Network out of Fort Worth, with no budget, in 2 years, he took them from almost nothing to about 40 million viewers, I believe.
Wow.
And we've got a pretty serious budget to obtain viewers with ACN. That's when they did their initial capital raise, a good portion of that capital went into acquiring viewers, because that's what it's all about. That's how you justify your advertising rates and all of that. And so I can't wait to see what's going to happen there, and hopefully in very short order we'll have a ton of viewers, and of course they still believe that our show, Small Town Sound, is going to be one of the defining shows for the network. It's going to put them on the map, which and we believe that too. That's why we're grinding away at making that pilot the best it can be before we put it out there. We're not going to put our stamp on anything that's not as good as it can possibly be. But we're excited. And Kurt, I want to ask you, how does it feel to be a television star?
Well, this is funny. Funny you mentioned that, Steve. I was thinking about that. I remember we was in a meeting at the Capitol Records building downtown Nashville with Tommy. The AC Network has offices there, and when we first started talking about this, I envisioned this whole thing as a variety show, like similar to Hee Haw, maybe a more modern version of it. And I was just stuck on that. And
does that make me junior or grandpa?
I don't know. But I remember sitting in that meeting and having all these television guys there, and they just started talking. And they said, "Well, tell us about you, Kurt. What have you done?" And I just started talking about things I've done in the music industry. And one of the guys went, "There's the show right there. That's the guy. That's the show right there." And I'm like, whoa, no, I don't want to be that. I want somebody else to do that. I just want to sit on the sidelines. And Steve and I had a long discussion on the way home, and he was cheering me up because I really did not want to be the face of the show. And of course, we've got Braden Ryle, we have Jaden Riley and Evie May, who are all really the stars of the show, the way I see it. They're the artists, and it's just basically me working with the artists as a producer in the studio. So it's interesting to watch. If people have never been in a studio or seen anything in that environment, it's pretty fun to watch it. And I kind of watched the pilot just thinking, okay, if I had never seen this would be pretty interesting. So anyway, yeah, it's they just shoved me right in the middle of that camera, and so now they're stuck with me. So
Kurt, your story's been needing to be told for a long time. And when I first met you and understood where you came from and what all you've done, I like to say you're the most famous person that most people have never heard of. And the fact that you were so resistant to being the center of that show just means that all the more reason why you should be. You had the right attitude. Me, I'm thinking my ego. I'm like, I need to be in the middle of this show, and God had a whole different plan there. And that's
I've been trying to pull you in it from day one and get you on that camera with me. And of course, our producer just keeps going, not yet. And so we're just kind of going along with whatever they tell us at this point, because we've never done this before.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll come in there every once in a while and I'll wear a shirt that says Dream Crusher on it. And I'll walk in there and go, this music's terrible. Do it all over again.
I think that'd be funny. And Steve, it's your personality too.
Just be the real jerk record executive type guy, which,
the Simon Cowell of Clarksville Creative Sound, right?
Right. Just kill me now. So, Alan, you didn't know you were with a big celebrity, did you?
Yeah, I don't think we're going to get there. But I will tell you this, guys. I've never done anything like this before, so this is as new to me as it is. I've been on TV 1,000 times, of course, but always just in the band. I'm a guitar player. Although Mel Tillis one time did host Nashville Now. Brent, I'm sure I've seen Brent show this. He hosted Nashville Now for Ralph Emery one time, and I remember Mel told me, he said before the show, he said, "Kurt, I'm going to be on TV, and I want you to come on there with me." And I said, "Why the hell do you want me on there, Mel? I mean, why don't you don't need me." He goes, "Well, you're a songwriter, and I just signed you, and I want you to come on there." So I said, "Well, I've never done anything quite like that." I said, "Mel, I've never." He said, "I want you to sing one of your songs on there." And I'm like, "Oh, crap." And I said, "Well, who else is going to be on?" He said, "No, nobody that's you need to worry about." I said, "Who's going to be on there? What other artists?" Well, just T. Graham Brown, Keith Whitley, and he starts naming these superstars. And anyway, so I did go on that show, and I did sing, and I got through it somehow. I don't know, but that's the only time I've ever done anything on that kind of scale. But it's kind of fun being in front of the camera here when we had the people here. I just said, heck with it, I'm just going to be who I am, and this is either going to work or it's not. And I didn't change anything about myself. It's a reality TV show. Some of it is scripted, of course. They had ideas about how they wanted to set this thing up, but honestly, about 65 or 70% of it is just real things that really happen in the studio. So I think it's going to work. What do you think, Steve? You saw it.
I think so too. I like the way it's coming together, and it's not just all about these three young artists, but this is kind of the starting point, because these kids are the real deal. Not, and everybody on our label, we certainly have big plans for and aspirations for, and going to try to get them to as far close to the top as we can get them in their own space. But these kids are just in the prime, and they're hitting their stride. And you got people like Jaden Riley, who's a huge, already a YouTube star, international star. I mean, it blows me away, the following that she's got and the things that she's already done in her young age. How old is she? She's 17
years old. And, Steve and I went out there one day and just pulled up YouTube, and we counted somewhere way over 140 or 150 million views that this kid has just on YouTube. So she's definitely an internet star. She's probably the biggest indie superstar out there. So bringing her in on the camera, this is going to bring a lot of people to watch the show. Just having her on here, her fan base is already huge, and of course she and Braden together, they've done so many duets, and so they have millions and millions of viewers and fans out there. So we got a lot working for us.
Well, I thought, and of course, I don't want to give too much away, but this pilot episode, Jaden kind of comes in as our pinch hitter, so to speak, on a song that you've been working on with Evie, and kind of like, okay, Jaden, show her how it's done, and not that Evie really needs to be shown.
Well, the truth of the matter is, Evie is an incredible vocalist. She doesn't have to worry about it. But we had to set it up, and so we created a little bit of drama here between these kids. But the truth was, the song was made for Evie, but Jade came in and she walks in there and just sings it, knocks it out of the park. And when Evie was struggling because she didn't know the words, she's reading. So that's all I'm going to give away. You'll have to watch the show. But after a while, Evie basically comes back in and goes, "Okay, I know the song now. Give me a shot at it." And of course she kills the song. And if it weren't for Brent, we wouldn't have Evie Mae. Brent, we appreciate you bringing her to us.
It's fun to watch everything that's coming her way, and she deserves it.
She does. She's got a great family. I mean, they're so dedicated. They've actually sold their house, bought a house in Clarksville, and they're in the process of stage by stage moving to Clarksville, Tennessee. By this summer, they'll be fully in Clarksville. So it's so you're going to have see more of Evie maybe than you want to, but no, I'm.
You know what? This is probably the sweetest kid I've ever met in my life. And I went over. Braden took me over and showed me their house the other day. He actually has a key. He can go in and look at it. Well, they haven't moved in yet, but it's a nice home. They got a really nice place out there, and I'm looking forward to having them in the area, because Farron is a pretty good musician. Her dad is a bass player in her band. And so I'm kind of looking forward to having him around here with me in the studio. He's somebody who brings a lot to the studio, and he'll sit here and he'll go, "Hey, did you hear that?" And so when I'm in here mixing, a lot of times things get by me. He'll go, "Did you hear that?" And I'll go back and listen. And sure enough, man, there's something there. He's pretty tuned in.
Yeah, she's a little ball of fire. She's very passionate, but she's a great kid. And that's what I love. All these kids are great kids. They're very supportive of each other. All of our whole roster of artists are all about waving the banner for each other and lifting each other up. And we don't have room nor time for any divisiveness, and we've had to take care of that from time to time. When you get into any situation where you've got a potentially high profile profession that you're trying to cultivate, egos can easily get in the way. Alan, I know you know this. You've been in this business a long time, and so but I always have a saying: your ego is not your amigo, right?
Right.
And so we probably need to put a sign outside like Quincy Jones did at his studio, where you check your ego in right here.
Yeah, I might do that. I'm seriously thinking about doing it. Problem is, Steve, I don't know if I can get you through the door.
If you can get.
I don't know if I can get you through the door. I don't know if your ego is going to fit in that box. I'm gonna have to get a big old box
Because of my big head. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Well, that's all right. No, we're real excited about everything we've got going on. Lots of cool things happening down here in Fort Worth too. You and I had a conversation with a guy that hopefully we'll know on Sunday is going to put together the definitive A-list band for us and kind of be our co-leader on that deal. And he's got a pretty good pedigree himself. So
yeah, it's a really good band, and I've worked with I remember back in the late '70s when I was only like 3 years old. Yeah, I remember playing in some recording studios down there, and some of those guys in this band were actually studio players there in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Great musicians, and so I think that's going to be I think that might work out really well for you, Steve. And
well, I hope so. I mean, for all of us, because that's going to be the place where when these kids want to get out and really perform in front of a substantial audience, we'll have opportunities for them to do that with our home base there at National Hall, which is just a great venue.
And I'd like to bring Alan in. You got to hear this guy sing, guys. I'm telling you, there's something about Alan's voice that reminds me an awful lot of Ronnie Millsap, but he's got a lot more
major influence.
He's got some serious vocals, man. I can't wait to mix the stuff and send it to you guys. Brent, you're gonna love this guy on the air. Brent plays more country music out there. He's the Rural Strong Radio guy. So how many viewers you got out there? How many listeners you got, Brent? I know it's a lot.
Well, there's got to be at least 10 right now. So we're growing daily.
10 and 1 is suspect, right?
Yeah, I think probably 9 are suspect. But
well, Brent, you're building something there, and it takes a while, and it's and you've done it, with pretty much no budget at all on pouring marketing dollars into the deal, and you've done it the old-fashioned way, and and it's starting to pay off. And in fact, we're looking forward to seeing what you're going to do with American Country Network, because I know you've been in negotiations with Tommy Snyder about doing this whole agricultural / musical thing that's worked for you through your like Tractors and Troubadours thing, and you've got your finger on the pulse more than anybody I know on the whole agricultural scene, which is such a important part of what we do as far as our potential and listener base. And with the OTA presence that we're going to have, we're going to be reaching a lot of those salt of the earth farmers and ranchers out there that are off the grid or just, like the rest of us, tired of paying high cable and satellite bills or can't get that technology way out in the boonies. And so they put up those digital antennas and we'll be able to reach them. And so the content that you're going to bring to the TV show, TV network, I should say, is going to be so valuable.
Yeah, there's some huge opportunities there to reach those people. And I'm glad you mentioned Tractors and Troubadours, because I didn't want it to get lost that the new episode dropped today. And the featured artist on there this week is Brian Moon. The great new song, Trainwreck Love. Yeah. Good song.
Well, we can all relate to that. Trainwreck.
That
was my comment exactly. If you go listen to it,
Brian is such a good singer, and he's such a funny guy to be around. I had him here in the studio. We did his album, and the guy eats like every 15 minutes. I mean, we go out to eat, and we'll come in, and he'll sit down, and he'll go, "Anybody hungry?" I mean, it's like he's got a
tapeworm, huh?
His energy.
How he keeps 500 pounds is beyond me. I couldn't eat like that.
He's got a lot of energy, I guess. He was all over Nashville a few weeks ago. I mean, he stuck around there he's from Canada, right? I mean,
yeah, I think he brought some of his band. And boy, what a band this guy's got. He's got some amazing musicians. His steel player was here. His guitar player was here. And I think maybe his bass player. I can't remember. There were 3 or 4 of them. And so there was a couple of songs on this one project I was working on that I was going to get ready to call Tommy White or one of these great Nashville steel players in. And I looked at him. I said, "You think you can play this?" I said, "You want a shot at it?" He went, "Sure." he goes out, brings a steel guitar in and sets it up and blew me completely out of the water, man. This guy was an amazing musician. So yeah, he was like I told him, I said, man, you need to be doing sessions in Nashville. He knew exactly what to play. I didn't have to tell him anything. That's very rare. So yeah, definitely, when we do that show down there again, Steve, I think you might want to think about bringing Brian Moon in there with his band, because they'll put on a show, man.
All right. Maybe we can get Alan in there sometime too.
We definitely got to get Alan in there.
Alan, where can we hear your music? You got anything out there on?
I don't have a whole lot, but I've just got some of the stuff that I've written on SoundCloud, kind of thing.
But you'll be hearing his real album here probably in the next couple of weeks. I'm gonna have this thing finished, and once that's done, you're gonna hear some great stuff we've recorded on him. So might be worth the wait.
I got a thing out there that I did an album back in 96 when I first came to Nashville through Gatlin's group, and it's called Oklahoma Wind. It's probably out there somewhere. I hadn't done a whole lot online with any of this stuff.
Did you ever meet the Gatlin brothers? Did you ever get to?
I met everybody but Larry. Yeah, I didn't meet Larry, but I met Steve and Ruth.
I heard he was a nice guy.
Well,
I've heard things about Larry Gatlin, and I don't want to, start any, unsubstantiated.
I think he's probably a great guy. It's
great writer and singer. And
he's just, I heard he's just kind of aloof, but man, one of the sweetest voices in music. Period.
I actually got to demo a couple of his songs.
I tried to sing one of his really harder songs at our last concert that. Done Enough Dying Today, where he gets really high, and I'm thinking I'm doing pretty good on it. You know how when you're up there singing and you're taking risks, and thinking, can I get this note? And I'm thinking I'm doing pretty good, but about halfway through the song, I thought, I think I just lost that note. I blew my vocals out.
Talking yourself out of it.
Yeah, and so I had to kind of limp through the rest of that song. And of course, Kurt, thank God Kurt's up there next to me, just kind of like talking me through it off the ledge, and so afterwards he's like, probably need to take that song out of the set list. But,
no, you're capable of hitting any note you want to, Steve. I've heard you go to the sky.
I say sometimes you just talk yourself out of it.
Well, he had been up on that stage for about 3 hours, and his vocal was shot. He was just worn out, but that's such a great song, and I've heard you nail that thing a million times. So.
Yeah, but I love the Gatlins, and of course they're 3-part harmonies. When they sing. I saw a deal the other day. You talk about the ultimate harmony group: 3 Gatlin brothers, Barry Gibb, and Roy Orbison.
Wow!
If y'all haven't seen that, you got to cue that up. It's called I think it's California. I can't remember anyway, but just punch that in and on YouTube, and it is absolutely amazing.
But, well, anything Roy Orbison is in has got to be great. I mean,
well, yeah, when he was in that band, Traveling Wilburys, and you had Bob Dylan, icons like Bob Dylan, George Harrison, Tom Petty, Jeff Lynne of ELO, and they were all, the only thing they wanted to talk about was how excited they were that Roy was in the band.
Yeah, no kidding.
And Dylan, who doesn't say much, he goes, "Yeah, I go up to him every day and ask him for his autograph."
Yeah.
Anyway, we've got a lot of people chiming in, and yesterday I kind of did a little promo video, just telling people to chime in, and we would, if they wanted us to talk about anything. Of course, we don't want to get too far in the weeds, but I'll just mention who. This is the feed I'm looking at now. I know there's more than one feed, but we got Brian Moon, of course, is watching. Tara and Colin Giles are watching, and everybody's saying hugs and prayers for you, Brent, and your family and your daughter Madison. Billy Bowles, Larry O'Neill, the mothership guy, Terry LeMaster, our resident bluegrass man, who just keeps knocking it out of the park, and Jeannie, and I guess Ariel France is watching.
Oh, Ariel's here, huh? I just had her in the studio last week.
And what
she did.
You're real excited about that little artist, aren't you?
I tell you right now, man, I think she's one of the best singers I've ever recorded. And I'm not just saying that. She walks in here and there's nothing she can't do. It's crazy, but she did the song, and I just told her, I said, can we experiment a little bit with taking you up and seeing what your range is like? She said, you want me to just sing it in a higher register? I Why don't you just do what you feel first? And I said, let me hear it. She just walked up there, and I'm telling you, she was hitting an octave above where she was at, and just took it off. And this thing just creative with her vocal, has such control over it. Man, she just knocked me out. This kid is good, guys. I'm telling you.
She has got, she's got amazing. I was watching I was with Paul Michael yesterday, watching the video footage from the concert, and we had footage of Ariel. She got up and did a couple of songs, and we both stopped and went, "Whoa!" I mean, her voice, her pitch was perfect.
Yeah. And she's such a sweet little girl. She's just so cute. She just turned 13. I mean, she's a kid.
You're real shy. Yeah.
Yeah, but she's kind of coming out of that. I was impressed with her. She was able to have conversations with me and stuff, and she didn't just answer yes or no.
Well, she's the cutest little thing. She's just so sweet. But I was backstage in the green room at the National Hall, and she was back there. And she had her coach and her friend there with her, and they were kind of helping, just getting her ready to go on stage. And I just said, Ariel, I said, you're a great singer. I said, you're just not quite cute enough.
She took you literally, didn't she?
She took me. She gave me a look, and then her grandmother, I guess it was, it said later. She said, Ariel's saying, "I'll show you cute. Tell Steve I'll show him cute." Anyway, but she's a pretty little girl, and she's got a beautiful voice to match. So we're excited about bringing her along as well.
And we have Amy and Farron Lasher here. Evie Mae's mom and dad are on here with us, I see.
Yeah.
Of course, Tara and Colin, Tara's tried to get me, I don't know if you know this, Steve, but she sent me this thing and trying to get me to go out there and say something politically. She's trying to get me in Facebook jail because she got mad at me one time. Tara got kicked off of Facebook for a couple of days. So I put her in an orange jumpsuit and just put it all over Facebook. This is Jaden Riley's mom.
Well, they live in Canada, so they're socialists. So
well, of course, and so anyway, she got kicked off for some innocent thing. Honestly, I got kicked off. Facebook is funny anyway, but I was out there and Tara had said something to me, and I said, "Damn Canadians!" And they kicked me off for that. They didn't know I was joking, right? And so she went out there and made a big deal of it. So when she got kicked off, I put her in an orange jumpsuit.
Kurt, I could have sworn the last time I was there, there was a black car with tinted windows, and a window was rolled down, and I could have sworn I saw Mark Zuckerberg sitting outside of your house.
Yeah, I know he's got a place out there. I know he does. I'm not sure he's not Braden's dad, if you really want to know the truth. I'm joking. It's never a dull moment around here.
Hey, Kurt, what happened to the Clarksville Creative Sound logo behind you there?
Well, I took it down, Steve, because you gave me that.
Ah.
How about that, huh? See, I had to put that on I'm trying to get that where you can see it. It's awesome. It looks kind of weird right there. It's not really cutting out like that, but this camera's making it look like it. But I couldn't have two of those things in here, so I had to take the big one down behind me for this. Steve sent me.
What you need to do is take the big one and put it in front of your console to cover up that Matador thing, because that's
I've already taken care of that, Steve. I've already changed that thing to CCS. It's a CCS now.
Oh, okay.
Sound, so.
All right, I'm just trying to get you on board with the branding, the rebranding initiative. We've only been doing it for 2 years, Kurt. So.
Yeah, I'm not very good at that. If it wasn't for Steve, it'd still say Big Matador Recording in here. But no, we're getting there, buddy.
No, that's now Edward Williams' deal is the Matador thing, which
Yeah, my buddy Edward started a record company called Matador Legacy or something like that.
Yeah, that was kind of hopefully a little bit in tribute of you, and he felt a strong connection to that name, rightfully so, and so we certainly wish him all the luck, and he's got a great artist there. His sister Peggy Haverly is done some great stuff, and she's got some songs high up on the charts. So
yeah, she's a good singer, and so yeah, he's out there looking for those real traditional country singers, and he's probably going to do pretty well with that, I hope.
Well, I hope he does too, and we're here to help in any way we can. We're all in this together, we're all just beggars helping each other find the food.
Ain't that the truth?
Hey, to circle back around before we get out of here today, you mentioned Kurt's lone TV appearance before Small town sound here. I just happened to have it at my fingertips and wanted to see if you wanted to roll it.
Here we go. Yep,
Roll
let's roll it.
At work.
Folks, I was out in Nebraska, Sidney, Nebraska, last August, and a lady, she handed me a tape. I was doing a fair date, and a lady handed a tape to my bus driver, and he gave it to me, and I was on the bus. I said, well, I'll listen to this, and I heard 10 great songs on the tape, and I didn't know who the boy was, and I found out. I got back home and I did some checking up, and I found this young man in Dallas, and I called him on the phone. I liked every one of his songs, were great songs, all of them. And I called him and asked him if he could come to Nashville, and he said he could. And he came down, and I liked his songs so much that I made him a part of our family at Musicplex, and I got him away from his job. He was a bug exterminator.
I knew that was going to come out.
You tell him what you did there in Dallas. He's from Dallas, Texas.
Well, I play music, of course, 5 nights a week down there, but we got the biggest cockroaches in Dallas you ever seen. So I used to go around with a can during the day and spray these cockroaches until Mel bailed me out of there.
Well, I'll tell you what, son, you're a great songwriter. And if you would, folks, a big hand from Dallas, Texas, a big hand for Kurt Riles, his own song.
If loving you was against the law, I'd probably be another Jesse James. I'd be stealing kisses instead of shooting folks and robbing trains. And I'd be a famous outlaw, but I would gladly wear the ball and chain. If loving you was against the law, I'd probably be another Jesse James. Well, there's not a man alive who wouldn't want to be here in your arms tonight. And the way your body looks just makes me want to lock the doors and kill the lights. But if your loving was a crime, they'd lock me up and throw away the key. I'd make Bonnie and Clyde look just like beginners next to me. If loving you was against the law, I'd probably be another Jesse James. I'd be stealing kisses instead of shooting folks and robbing trains. And I'd be a famous outlaw, but I would gladly wear the ball and chain. If loving you was against the law, I'd probably be another Jesse James. If loving you was against the law, I'd probably be another Jesse James. I'd be stealing kisses instead of shooting folks and robbing trains. I'd be a famous outlaw, and everyone would surely know my name. If loving you was against the law, I'd probably be another Jesse James. If loving you was against the law, I'd probably be another Jesse James.
You've got the best view of country in the country. Stay tuned. There's more Nashville Now coming to you live on the Nashville Network.
That seems like an eternity ago.
Woo.
Man, you were rocking that mullet.
I always feel like we got to drag that out of the closet every now and again.
Yeah, there's one other video we need to drag out.
I'll have to admit, I thought Brent was going to play the other video. I didn't know he was going to play that one.
You mean this one?
Yeah, he's got his finger on it. I can guarantee you. Yeah, that one. Oh, that never gets old for Brent.
I think Alan's now looking for a way out to get out of there.
Yeah, that video travels with me. I keep it in my.
I'll never forget. We had Kathy Jewell in the studio. We just finished that video. Kathy Jewell came in with her husband, Rock. What's his name? Rock.
Yeah.
And he's just he's a man's man, big old, like a John Wayne kind of cowboy, rough and tumble cowboy guy, the real deal. And we started playing that video, and I kept looking at him, and every time I looked back at him, he was backing up another step. And by the time he was halfway out of the studio, by the time we finished the video, and I looked over at him, and he looked at me and Kurt, and he just shook his head. He goes, "Y'all ain't right."
Yeah. Oh, that was some fun time.
Good stuff. Well, we should mention before we get out of here too, in the next few weeks, Steve, will have your brother Mike on here to talk about the early ticket sales here for the Cowtown, birthplace of Western Swing Festival. Hard to believe, but those advanced tickets start to go on sale here soon.
Yeah, well, they're on sale now.
Are they on sale now? Okay.
Mike, well, I think to the existing patrons that the last year's ticket buyers or whatever get first shot, and he's always nervous. Every year he gets nervous, thinking, oh my gosh, ticket sales are not going well, Steve. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? I said, you're going to sell out, is what.
Yeah, and it always does.
You do it every year, and he's had a few people that have opted not to come back for whatever reason. That's their loss, because last year he had Drake Milligan do a close out the thing.
God, how's that guy blown up over the last few weeks?
Yeah, I mean, it was a smart move on Mike's part, but a lot of people just are very closed-minded about Western swing, I guess, and all that kind of thing. I thought Drake was really good, but some people just couldn't see that, and this year he's got a stellar lineup of the headliners. The main guy that's going to close everything down this year is Junior Brown, which we all love Junior. I mean, what a great musician. And he and Mike have gotten to be real close friends. Junior calls Mike every day, checking on his health, because Mike just has had some health issues, and Junior has been real concerned about that. Mike said he's one of the nicest, most compassionate guys you'll ever know, and Junior and his wife Tanya both are just great people. And then he's also got if you watch the movie The Birth and History of Western Swing, the documentary, you'll see all these influences that melded together to form what we know as Western Swing music. And if you look at the early days of Milton Brown and Bob Wills, before they got together in Fort Worth in that chance meeting at a house party, their influences were mainly people like Louis Armstrong and Bessie Smith, the old blues, the black blues singers, and of course Bob Wills picked up his soulful fiddle playing and influences from working side by side in the cotton fields with the black workers and the Hispanic. And so he picked up a little bit of the Hispanic flair as well. And so Mike, being such a historian, has brought in a Bessie Smith tribute act to perform at some point during the festival. And I think it's brilliant, and I can't wait to see it. But there's been a few people that have squawked about that, and I'm not sure why. But anyway, needless to say, I told Mike, I said, Mike, we need, your tickets are sold out, so that opens ticket sales up to new patrons that will appreciate what you're trying to do, and hopefully some younger folks, because it's real important. Billy Bowles and I talk about this all the time. Mike and I talk about it all the time. We've got to bring younger people, younger fans into this music.
I really think with a lot of those folks down there, Steve, I think that they just want Western swing and nothing else, which is great, because it's great music, of course. And of course, bringing Drake Milligan in, he brought in other aspects of music that had a lot more of a modern flair, and I'm assuming that's probably what the problem was.
Well, but Drake wrote and created, several original Western swing songs and did a couple of Bob Wills songs too. But yeah, maybe that was a stretch. I don't know. I enjoyed it, and a lot of people did.
I think it was great from what I've heard. He knocked it out of the park. But
yeah, so everybody has look, everybody can decide for themselves. Everybody has the right to, as I say, we all have the right to be wrong, right? But if you understand what Mike's trying to do, and the whole name of the festival and the movement that he started that's growing rapidly is the birth and history of Western swing. So there's all these roots, and Mike's a musical expeditionary, just like I am, just like you are, Kurt, Brent. We all are. I don't know about y'all, but when I come across a new artist, I want to know who their influences are, and I can go down some rabbit trails, that can go pretty deep. Mike's the same way. So he likes to kind of mix it up. You've got plenty of opportunities to go to these other Western swing festivals and see the same acts, and they're great. And, you never get tired of guys like Jody Nix and Jason Roberts and Billy Mata, and all those guys are great. They're a lot of fun. But, and Mike has all those guys there, but he also likes to add a little fringe stuff as well, which I think makes it even more interesting.
I don't think it has anything to do necessarily with who is up there singing or what age they are. I think it's the content that if you put a young 17-year-old kid up there singing Bob Wills for an hour, they're gonna love it. That's really, I think it comes down to the music.
Yeah.
Oh, we'll get into unpacking that a little bit more. I didn't mean to open Pandora's box.
No.
Once you get going down that rabbit hole, it could go 100 different ways here.
No, so to answer your question, Brent, and I didn't mean to either, but Mike is that's just the way Mike's built, and he and that's why he's an overachiever, because he's constantly got a fire lit on his backside, and he's and very motivated and doesn't let grass grow under his feet. But so I'm not sure when the tickets are available for the general public. They may be now. If you want to know more, just go to birthplaceofwesternswing.com, and you'll be able to find out anything you want to know on that website. There's a ticket portal right there where you can buy your tickets, and it's going to be fun. We're going to be playing out there on Friday evening. We've got a prime slot, and we can't wait, and hopefully we'll be bringing this new group of players in that's going to knock everybody's socks off, and so we're looking forward to that.
We'll have him on here shortly to talk about that here in the coming weeks. And it's hard to believe, but that thing is sneaking up on us again. But I want to say a special shout out to Daryl Wayne Dasher. I see him on here commenting. If you get a chance, go check him out. Daryl Wayne Dasher on Flaming Tortuga Records. He's a label mate of Scott Southworth, our friend Scott Southworth. Great artist there, doing some great traditional country music here. Cool to see him on here. We'll have to get him on a show one of these days to talk about what those guys are doing over in that camp and Hippie too, because they're doing some great traditional country music, and they like to explore too. I know Scott Southworth's kind of he'll do some honky tonk, a little bit of old west type music, and now he's kind of exploring the beachy type yacht rock as it runs into country music kind of flair here. So he likes to explore a little bit with it too, and I think that's kind of the beauty of some of this stuff.
See, Scott Southworth is a great entertainer. He's got a good stage presence. He just tore up Australia. He was all over Australia and New Zealand, had a real successful tour over there. So we're real happy for him about that. He's a great guy. Billy Bowles just chimed in because Billy's on the board of the Cowtown Birthplace of Western Swing Festival, and so thank you, Billy, for substantiating this. But he said April 1 is when everybody will be able to buy tickets.
April 1st, which is what, Monday?
Yeah, I believe so. So
Monday,
and Billy will be one of the MCs along with you, Brent, and so we always enjoy seeing. And Billy's a dancing fool too, boy.
Yeah.
So
he's got me there.
And speaking of Billy Bowles, I've got a world radio premiere next Saturday, I believe. Billy, chime in if I'm wrong about that. On a new song. It's that song, 1,000 Tears Too Late.
Yeah, that's a great song, man.
Wow.
And it's a little different, a little departure. It's a more of a bluesy, slow groove type song. But that's the one that you really, you wore me out in the studio stretching my voice on that one. But it paid off.
The song reminds me of "Trouble in Mind" that Bob Wills did. If you remember that song, it reminds me of that. It's got Western swing flair all over it. So great song. I think it's one of the best vocal things you've ever done, Steve.
Yeah, and that was one that you and I wrote on the fly. I remember you said, we were trying to round out this album. You said, you got any more ideas? And I had a million scraps in my phone. And I said, well, here's a line, song that I was thinking about a guy that his girlfriend left him, or his significant other left him. And then down the road, she decides she made a mistake, wants to come back to him, but he goes, honey, you're 1,000 tears too late.
Yeah, it's a great song.
So
love it. So be listening to that. Billy Bowles on KSSL FM from 10 to noon Central Time each Saturday. Then you can catch it on Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central on Rural Strong Radio, ruralstrongmedia.com, or the Live 365 streaming radio app. You can get on there and listen to Billy Bowles also Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 Central on Rural Strong Radio. We got Billy Bowles there as well. So 3 great opportunities, and I know he's on other places, other venues elsewhere, but those are the ones we're focused on here. So catch him on KSSL and Rural Strong Radio.
Alan, you doing any live performing these days?
I'm actually working with a kind of acoustic trio out of Oklahoma City, Edmond, called the Brothers. And we're doing some country clubs and some restaurants and things like that, and some other bigger things coming up.
Good.
More money and that sort of thing. But also, I just got a call from a guy named Shannon Farmer, who has worked with Doug Stone and some guys like that. Neil McCoy is a steel player, and they're going to do a 90s country tribute. And they're asking me to play the lead guitar in the group.
Okay.
You should be the lead singer.
Well,
this guy's incredible.
I told him what I'm doing here, and he said, well, what we could do is take this band and back you to do your show too. And I'm like, sounds awesome.
Yep. Well, you never know. I can't wait to hear your stuff. Is this original material that you've written, or?
Some of it is, and some of it's, I got 3 old classics on there. And then I picked up a song from Mark Allen Springer. He and I used to coach girls basketball in middle Tennessee, some schools there, and met, and I got a demo, and there was a song there I've always loved, and nobody's ever done it. So I'm doing that one, and I'm doing a waltz that my cousin, an old boxer, that you guys should have known each other, but they got whipped by the same guy several times. But anyway, he wrote a waltz, and I'm putting this waltz on this album too. Greg he's gone now, but he's great. He kind of got me started on guitar and singing and stuff, so I'm putting that song on here.
Well, good. We can't wait to hear it. And you're certainly with the best producer you can possibly have. So, so we can't wait to hear that. Lots to look forward to there. And yeah, we'd love to get you down to Fort Worth and be a part of what we're doing down there. Down here, I should say.
Ardmore, Oklahoma.
That's not too far.
No.
Good stuff. Well, guys, I got to start wrapping things up here. We got some other business to attend to here, but before we go, any last thoughts?
I think we're on the right track with everything we're doing, so I'm good.
Yeah, we'll have more to say about and more updates on American Country Network and our show and everything else we got going on. We got a lot in the hopper here that we're trying to finalize, and of course the show will be an ongoing creative endeavor. But we can't wait to get it out there. But we're not going to put anything out there until it is as good as it can possibly be. And so the good news is we're not under a huge time constraint as far as when this show launches. And I want it that way because I'd rather, I just don't want to put anything out there until it meets our approval. And so we're getting close. Like I said, we've got a good start on this thing, but there's a lot of work that goes into these shows. I can only imagine. Now I know why movies take years to produce, because you think about a 22-minute show when you consider commercials and everything for a 30-minute slot and all the work that goes into that. I can only imagine what a full-length movie involves and the budget and everything else. So we're excited about that. And, like I said, a lot of good things going on here in Fort Worth. And, we've got a great group of artists that are constantly recording and putting out new material, and we're wanting to give them more and more opportunities to get out and do live gigs as well. And we'll have that for everyone, certainly here in Fort Worth and hopefully other places as well. If we can find a club there in Clarksville that doesn't have smoking, that'd be nice, wouldn't it?
I don't think there are any. We hit them all in one day.
I can't handle that cigarette stuff, but anyway, yeah. So lots to look forward to. And Brent, again, our thoughts are with you on Little Madison and what y'all are going through. But I hope and pray that y'all are on the backside of this thing and things will get better quickly.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for that. Thank you for everybody who's praying and checking in. We'll be back again next Friday at 10 a.m. Central for another Fort Worth Musical Moments. And as we say all the time, in the meantime, if you're not already plugged in, make sure you get plugged into the Clarksville Creative Sound Facebook group, the Fort Worth Musical Moments Facebook group, and the Rural Strong Media Facebook page, so you don't miss any of what we got going on. I'm sure we'll put together some preview videos sometime here in the next week to kind of let you know what things are going on. And as we kind of get back into the swing of things for the springtime, we'll keep you up to date because there's going to be a lot going on here as we progress through the spring and into the summer as all this builds. And we've been telling you about it for months and months, and now it's all starting to come to fruition. So stick with us, and thank you for your support of Clarksville Creative Sound and Fort Worth Musical Moments and Rural Strong Media and the like. We really appreciate it. So for Kurt Ryle, for Steve Markwardt, it's Brent Adams. Hope everybody has a great Good Friday, great Easter, and we will see you next week for Fort Worth Musical Moments.
So long.